I'm Lola.
I'm Georgia.
And we are Sussex Digital Media Gurus.
Today we're going to be answering some of your questions about life as a first year student at Sussex. So we put out this question on our Instagram story and we got so many questions from you, so we've tried to answer as many as possible and combine some questions. So I hope you find this advice useful.
I study media production with economics, so I'm on a pathway. I'm first year.
Yeah, and I'm also first year and I study media and communications.
So, what was the first 2 weeks at uni like?
I think the first 2 weeks at uni are quite strange because I felt I was like at a summer camp. It didn't feel quite real because I'd never moved house before, let alone moved out. Yeah, and then obviously your first week is Freshers Week, so that's a sort of crazy accumulation of lots of different events and there's so much going on and so much to choose, so you're kept really busy.
It's like I feel like it's like going on holiday, so you've got everything like one little bubble. But at first I thought it was so daunting and nerve-wracking, but like you just jump straight in. You literally just feel like you dive right in. There's club nights out, freshers events. There's so many people. You meet your flatmates those first 2 weeks, you meet potential friends or like your lecturers and things like that, so it's a really intense experience, but it's very, very exciting and it can be very beneficial.
And because there's so much going on, I found that I didn't really feel homesick. I felt terrified of moving out. I had like 2.5 hours sleep before we moved house in the morning. I got there and I was so busy and there was always something on every single day, so I didn't have time to miss home too much, which sounds really bad, sorry mum and dad, but like there's loads of stuff going on during Freshers Week and it can feel a bit overwhelming at times. So when you look at the Students' Union calendar of events, I was quite overwhelmed because there was literally something on every hour. And it's important to throw yourself into things and like sign up for as much as possible, but also it's okay to take a break. And so it's okay to sort of stay in your room for a bit and like sort of find yourself and just get used to where you're living. You don't have to sort of throw yourself into everything.
Little by little, small steps.
Yeah.
I mean, plus I got really scared because I moved in, not the first day you moved in, I moved in like a few days afterwards and I was so nervous that was going to affect my time, but honestly it's fine.
So depending on like your degree, your first 2 weeks are generally an introductory thing. So on top of all of the cool events that are on in Freshers Week, you'll have your induction session. So you have like an induction session in a lecture theatre, introduced to your academics and what your course will be like. And then it was, for me, pretty much the same thing in the first week of term.
Those 2 weeks were really good. And it wasn't like you dived straight into your lectures and everything. Like you were eased in. Just eased in really nicely, so it was really good. What was the most surprising thing once you settled in? That I'm way more capable than I think I am.
Yeah.
I thought that I was going to be a whole mess when I came to uni, and I thought that I wouldn't really make friends or I wouldn't like push myself out of my comfort zone, but I realised that's like the whole different case. I settled in I think around like November, December time. That's when I was like, okay, I found my bearings. I've kind of met a really cool group of friends. I'm really happy where I am with my balance and like my coursework and like my social and like things that I'm doing outside of uni. That's when I was like, okay, I feel really good. I've settled in now.
I think I was quite surprised at how confident I actually was.
Yeah.
So being in school in sixth form, I was incredibly shy. Coming to uni, I was like, oh gosh, I have no social skills. I can't socialise. And I was a bit intimidated by the jump from A-level to university as well. And got here and I think just moving out and gaining that independence gave me such a confidence boost. And I was suddenly signing up to things way out of my comfort zone. Just like I threw myself straight into my course and really loved it. And I was just really surprised at how quickly I settled in and how quickly I was like okay with going out and talking to people and doing things like that.
How did you find out about what you need for freshers? I think the best place to find out about freshers events is the Facebook page. So if you just search it up on Facebook, that's where you find like a whole load of like club night outs or like things that are happening in the daytime. The uni itself puts on so many events, so if you just go on like the website or like the social medias, you'll find out from there, I think.
Yeah, I think the Students' Union is really fantastic because they put on so many really cool events over Freshers Week, and there's a lot of events catered to different types of people. So if you don't like partying, that's fine. There's lots of socials that don't involve going out into town. There's things on campus. So when you arrive, so when we moved into halls, we got given a tote bag with a sort of introductory box. That was so cool.
And
because we had a calendar. Yeah. So we got some like freebies and stuff, and on top of that we had like a calendar. So everyone like pinned it up on their wall and it had all the events, so you had everything prepared. Some events for the Students' Union Freshers Week are ticketed though. So the Pier Party is basically where Brighton Pier is taken over by Sussex Uni first years for the whole night. The tickets are they were £7 when we bought them.
That's not too bad actually.
Yeah, it was really cool. So you get to go on like unlimited rides and stuff. But it's just to be mindful that some events you'll need to buy before they sell out. It's always good to keep an eye on what sort of deals that you can get, but also be mindful that you don't want to sign up and pay for everything because you might get to uni and the plan changes.
Exactly. You never know who you can meet or like what they're going to do.
Also, you don't need events to enjoy Freshers Week,
Yeah.
I think. Some of my best like nights on Freshers Week was actually just inviting some friends over to my room and we just had a chat, like people that I had met like through course group chats and things like that.
Best way to make friends. Okay. Talk to everyone and anyone. If you like what someone is wearing, don't be afraid to say, hey, I love your jacket, or I really like your shoes, because you never know, they may say something back, or that may spark a conversation. For me, before coming, I joined Campus Society, so it's like an app to find people who are doing your course exactly, so that's perfect for like, if it's meeting up to go to your lectures together, or like meeting them after class to like catch up on notes and things like that. Or Facebook group chats to know like your, was it housemates? Yeah, so I went on Facebook to find people that were living, because I live in park houses, so I went on the park houses chat, and then you meet like a ton of people from there. But again, for me, it was just talking, being like, having a smile every single day, just talking to as many people as you can. I know it can be really daunting, but sometimes you realise you have nothing to lose, and you never know who you can meet if you just smile, if you just spark up that conversation, if you like, I don't know, something about them, or if you feel like someone's like-minded, kind of follow it through. Because I think my closest friends I've met is from either one of us following through, whether it be like meeting up for coffee or just like planning to go to an event together, by just following it through and just kind of like talking a bit more. It really, as daunting as it was, it just paid off in like tenfold, because I'm living with a lot of people that I met in that kind of situation.
However, also don't pin all of your hopes on Freshers Week.
No, 100%.
It's really intimidating. Not everyone has the best time in Freshers Week, and you've got to remember that you have a whole first year at university to meet people. You might not meet your closest friends to second or third year, so it's just important to remember to not get your hopes up and pin them all on that first week. There's loads of ways to meet people. You make your first friend.
Oh, I'm trying to think now how I made my first friend. My first proper friend was my flatmate, and it was just me just sparking up a conversation. You'd be like, hey, like, where are you from? The standard, where are you from? What are you studying? Like, how long was your journey? What events are you going to? Or like, are you nervous, excited, and just those type of things. And then always having your door open and just being like a really like, not bubbly or anything, but just being like really open-minded. At first, my flatmates kind of seemed different to who I was, but when I got to know them, I was like, oh my god, they each bring their own side to something, and it was so good to kind of learn more about their culture and where they're from, especially because a lot of them are from like villages or small little towns. So how did you make your first friend at Sussex?
Okay, so I met somebody through a group chat on Facebook. So all of the media students sort of got in a Facebook group, and just before the induction, some people were messaging like, hey, does anybody want to go with me to the induction event? And somebody said they lived in a flat quite nearby, and I didn't actually think that it would ever turn into something. I just thought, oh, it's somebody to walk to my lecture with, and we went to the induction event together, we went to the social afterwards, we met up again in Freshers Week, and she's now one of the people that I'm actually living with in second year.
That's actually crazy.
So yeah, it worked out really well, and so you do get really lucky, and I think often the best friendships you make are the unplanned ones.
Yeah.
So I've made so many really good friends through like the jobs I have, or through like group projects in my seminars and things like that. And it's not necessarily the people I've met at Freshers that I've become like the best of friends with.
Same. My closest friends I didn't meet at Freshers.
That also kind of leads on to like, what's your best advice to someone who isn't that sociable? I kind of threw myself into things and really chucked myself out of my comfort zone, and I think that was probably to my detriment sometimes. But just always being like, hey, do you want to meet up? And like it worked out a lot of the time. And also, I was quite shocked that a lot of people asked me to go out with them, and that was really lovely because like being in school, I wasn't used to people like inviting me on like days out or out for coffee or something. So when I came to uni and people were messaging me, and I didn't necessarily have to go to other people to make friends, that was really nice. And you don't actually, you have to put in half of the effort you think you do.
Also, the buddy scheme is really good.
Yeah.
That's so good, especially if you're really worried about kind of what to expect from like first year or foundation year. Join the buddy scheme, because that means you're paired with someone who's in second or third year, and that's a good way to kind of connect and then meet up and kind of ask more questions. And you can tailor it to people that it's like specific to either your age, gender, or kind of interest, so that's a perfect way as well.
I think there's also really good ways to get to know people if you're not too sociable and you don't want to start the situations yourself. So when you move into your new flat, it can be quite nervous meeting your flatmates. And we have residential advisors for every flat. So they're second or third years who live on campus nearby to you. And they'll come in your Freshers Week and have a kitchen meeting. So that's an opportunity for, if you haven't already met yet, to all of your flatmates to sit in one place together. You'll have a talk about like laying down some flat rules, things like that, but then it's a really great opportunity just to chat to them, get to know them, see who like you bond with quite well. That's really great. Also, it's been really great socialising with people that I've been put in group projects with, and I really value that social time that I spent like doing group essays or group video projects. I was sort of with people and I got to meet up outside of lesson time to see them.
And it's fine to also be alone with your company and just enjoy being independent. It should be celebrated, to be honest. You shouldn't have to worry about if you worry too much about it, it becomes way bigger than it is. I feel like your friends will naturally come, whether it's term 1 or term 2, like, regardless, you should just enjoy being at uni, enjoy learning getting a degree that you're interested in, enjoy like the whole experience, and then worry about friendships. I feel like it'll just come. The more you put pressure and stress on it, the worse it kind of seems. So the next question is, I would like to know about life at Sussex. So what is life at Sussex like?
Life at Sussex is so great. I think you get the best of both worlds. So we're on a campus, we're in the middle of the South Downs National Park. So you've got the countryside like on your doorstep, but you're also like 10 minutes by train or bus to like Brighton city centre. So you've got like a really like lovely bustling town, but also a really nice quiet countryside atmosphere. So it's a really nice combination of both.
There's so many social spaces on campus, so there's so many, you always see people out, so it's always like, you can always meet up on campus, go to the library together, or go to like the cafes and bars. It's like a little bubble, and everyone, I feel like the moment I come out of a Falmouth station, everyone's so bubbly and I always get excited. Everyone is really lovely and really friendly, way more friendlier than you actually may think. I always get surprised because I'm like, everyone's so smiley, and I think it's something to do with the weather. I feel like we're meant to be the most sunniest.
I think we are the sunniest campus in the UK. I was told that, yeah.
Get the tan on.
It's just very windy. I think that's the only thing. But yeah, just the vibe is so nice. Like, we both came from London, so you're from North London, right?
No, West
London.
Best part of London.
So I'm from South London, and do you ever get that thing like on the tube where you don't want to look at someone?
Yeah, no.
You make eye contact, it's horrible.
Honestly, in London I'm so much more antisocial. The moment I come at the station, in London I always have my headphones in. Around campus I'm never listening to music.
Like I'm always smiling at
taking
people.
everything in.
Yeah, I just smile at strangers like around campus. It's just such a nicer vibe. It's really friendly. I feel like it's quite like an American campus. I really love like, especially right now it's summertime and it's really sunny, and between revision people are like having picnics on the grass like everywhere across campus, and just like walking around you just like feel like the lovely atmosphere. It's so nice.
It's like you're on holiday. It's
yeah,
so nice.
I do like it.
When is the best time to start looking for part-time work, and is it even worth it? So I work as a digital media guru for Sussex Uni, so I like post up social media and I cover events around campus. We both do that. I also work at Farmer Bar, so it's a student union shop, so that's really good because it's a job on campus, and because I live in Halls it's like literally a 5-minute walk away. A lot of the jobs that I have kind of tailored towards my schedule to make sure that I can make time for like have a balance between like my uni workload, my social life, and then also like jobs to fund kind of like the things that I want to do in my spare time.
I obviously do the digital media guru thing as well, so this is our job right now, talking to camera. I'm also a widening participation ambassador, so the university hires some people to run school trips for schools and sixth forms from London and Sussex, and that's a really fun on-campus job as well. I'm also a freelance photographer. But not everybody has like 3-4 jobs like us. Yeah. I would really recommend, if you're looking for part-time work, look on campus. So the university itself hires students, but the students' union also hires students. And both of them have really great pay rates. They're really great and flexible. Obviously the university and the union both understand that you have studies and commitments, so there's never a problem with like having to work a shift, but you have a lecture or you have a deadline. Yeah, but also don't stress about having to find work. I think if you're financially able to, you should enjoy your first term or your first year.
If you don't get the campus job, or if you're not sure, there's always like Indeed or job seekers, and there's always like job opportunities available that tailor for everything, especially if you have experience or not. The good thing about a campus job is you don't really need experience, and this can be your experience or your stepping stone to kind of go into town. A campus job is great because everyone is from Sussex, so you meet people from different years and different courses. But in town, again, it's so nice because it means you venture out into Brighton a lot more.
Also, a shout out to the Careers and Employability Centre.
Oh, yeah.
We love you.
we love you.
They're great. So basically the CEC is based in the library, so they're on the ground floor by the front doors, and if you start at uni or midway through, whenever you are at your university like career, like just drop in there and they can give you advice on your CV, interviews, they can help you find a part-time job as well. They also run careers fairs throughout the year, that's both for graduate jobs and part-time jobs, so they're an incredibly useful resource, and you can check out their website as well.
And also check your emails because there's so many opportunities available on there, especially if you have like a department newsletters, because if you go to the opportunity sections in there, there's sometimes paid work or just volunteering gigs. How can I study my lesson effectively, and how can I have a study timetable?
Ooh.
I feel like you're going to be good at answering.
I'm gonna get something. So I would recommend, this is a bit of a shameless plug and I'm sadly not sponsored, but I wish, but I have a Collins day to a page diary. The best investment. It's falling apart now because I bought this at the start of uni. There is so much happening. So everything is a to-do list, and I prefer this to a study timetable because I can tick off on to-do lists. So like, I get really satisfied by ticking a box. And colour coding stuff as well. So I've got like the different colours for my different modules and things. So that's really useful. Just to help me like visually work out how much I have to do.
I'll grab my thing. That helps me. So I have an Excel spreadsheet because as much as I love, so it looks like this, guys. No, basically it's because I have a thing. It's called balance. So it basically means that I categorize things. So it's like exercise, creativity, education, back of the brain, which is like tasks that I have on the back of the brain. And then when I've done it, like I'll either like I'll write. So I do like social classes, so if I attend all my classes I'll like highlight it, and so it means that at the end of the week I look back and I see all the blank spaces where I have like a full imbalance, and most of the time it's exercise and like work, so then I know for next week that's the things I need to focus on. If you're not like a paper person, get an Excel spreadsheet because honestly it works for wonders.
That's really cool. I like that.
Don't leave it too late to follow up a lecture because sometimes it's fresh in your brain, so go over the lecture notes whether it's the same day or the day after, or just set aside like half an hour blocks. Don't overwork yourself too much, but again it's just finding the perfect balance that works for you.
Yeah, definitely. Also prioritise your work. You have modules at university and some are worth different credits to others, so that means some of them are more weighted in your end of year grade. So prioritise the things that are worth the most. So if it's an essay that's 50% of your 30 credit module, that's quite a large chunk of your term. So you want to focus more time on that. Also prioritise chronologically as well. So whichever deadline's coming up first, work on that. So what happens if you're not satisfied with your accommodation once you get it?
Okay. Don't even worry about it. If it's not your vibe, or if you potentially don't really like how the sizing of the room or the layout or where it is, it's fine. You put in for a room swap and then you just go for a halls that is more tailored to your suiting, and I'm pretty sure you put a ranking of the ones that you want to go for, and then they put in place, because a load of people for some reasons aren't happy with like where they're living, and then it's fine. You try and test it, and if not, you just move on. And the perfect thing is, where you are at in your halls, if you're not happy, it doesn't have to stay like that. A girl in my flat, she swapped out to go to Brighton because again a smaller flat is more suited to her, but for us it was a flat of 12, so I understand. And then we had someone else from Brighton come over for us, and she just liked the vibe of just being more, it's a bit more of a social atmosphere because it's park houses, so it's a load more people in a flat.
Most people in general will get their first choice of accommodation. I actually didn't. I got my 4th or my 5th, maybe even my 6th. I live in Swanborough for my first year, and it is a lovely accommodation. I do really like it. I'm so close to everything. But I applied for a different type of accommodation, didn't get it. And I was a bit like gutted at first, but I did like settle in quite well. I really love my bedroom, and
it's so
nice.
It's
Thank you.
so
At the time of like recording this, I'm moving out in about 2 weeks, and the thought of like taking everything down and packing up is making me so sad. Like I really grew to love like my little bedroom, and just being so close to everything on campus. So I think even if you're like not a bit scared about moving in and you're not sure if it's right for you, give it a go, because you'll settle in.
The next question is finding a house for second year. Side note, if you're worried about straight away finding your housemates, don't even stress.
Panic.
Don't stress about that. Shouldn't be your first concern.
You'll be fine. So just as a sort of like a ground knowledge, so you will live generally on campus in your first year. So most first years will live in on-campus accommodation where your bills are included in your rent, and you have like university management looking after you. But some people choose to live off campus in their first year, and that's absolutely fine as well. But so for the majority of first years, we have to find a house alongside our studies for the remainder of our degree. So you're renting privately, but the university has loads of support. So we have the Students' Union lettings agency. So you can go to like a private agency, or you can go to Sussex Student Lettings. There's also Sussex Student Pad, where landlords who are independent can advertise their properties. The housing services on campus are really great, so they'll give you an information pack. There's lots of social events to find housemates if you don't know of any friends who you might want to live with next year. But it is fine. I'd recommend starting to look for houses early, but I started looking in January, February time.
We looked at February, then got it in March. So that's another opportunity is RAs and being on campus as well, so it's really good.
Also, if you have a disability, you can apply to live in on-campus housing in your second year as well. So if you need to be close to the university facilities for whatever reason, you just talk to the Student Life Centre and they will help you arrange some sort of housing for second year.
The next question, you're going to be perfect at answering.
Okay.
So it's where to go in Brighton and Sussex. I can tell you what I do, and then you can list everything For me, again, seafront is key.
Yeah.
And then like I go to a load of like vintage kilo sales or just events that I find on Facebook.
Yeah, I love going to vintage sales. We're so like well placed in Brighton for like vintage shops and the seafront, the pier. If you're new to Brighton, especially, doing the more tourist typical things like the I-360 are great as well, just to get to know town. But there's lots of like really hidden gems as well. So if you go to Brighton town centre, there's sort of like the high street, but then behind it you have the lanes. You just get like the weird sort of independent quirky businesses you wouldn't find anywhere else. We have like the cereal cafe, lots of vintage shops there, really nice places to eat, especially if you're vegan.
So many nice places.
Also gig venues as well, so there's lots of really great music venues around Brighton and Sussex. But outside of the town, I'd recommend Lewis as well.
Oh,
that's really
Lewis,
nice. Yeah, so that's like equidistant from campus as Brighton is, so we're sort of in the middle of Brighton.
It's not too far, it's literally like 10 minutes by train, under £3 return.
Yeah, it's a really great cheap day out as well. You've got Stanmer Park on our doorstep.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Beautiful.
After 8 PM, any day, the stars.
And it's so nice, like I go just like for runs around Stanmer Park at sunset, and it's so pretty. And we've got like Seven Sisters quite nearby, and places like that.
I was going to ask you, I was like, where's that place with all the cliffs?
Yeah.
That looks like a movie. How much freedom is there to explore the nature areas surrounding the uni? There's tons.
So much,
it's again, I said there's another fact about how green it is. I'm trying to remember what it was.
I think we are, in terms of the Go Greener campaign, we're working to be one of the most sustainable. So there's lots of greenery on campus, which is really lovely. We also have like a weird rule on campus with the architecture. So this is me nerding out about Bruce's.
I love it. Teach me something.
So an architect designed a lot of the original buildings called Sir Basil Spence, and he wrote in like the rules that every window you look out of, you have to be able to see one tree.
I love. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why we're building outwards on campus, and we can't build up. Because we have to have trees visible from every window because they're listed buildings. Weird rule. But yeah, so it means campus is really pretty. But there's also the boundary walk around campus. You can start at like the Attenborough Centre, which is like the bottom of campus. You can go out and you walk around Stanmer Park, and there's a pathway going like all around campus.
I think, is that where dogs
Yeah, dog walking society is there.
3 times. They're honestly mixed for Fridays. Love it. So the last question that we've got is, what are 3 things that you'd advise a first year student?
Take first year seriously, because I think even though your first year doesn't count towards your actual final degree, so your grades aren't carried over, a lot of people will take it as sort of a practice year, and you absolutely should. So you should use it as a time to sort of get used to academic study and sort of learn new things and develop the basic knowledge. But at the same time, it's really important to attend your seminars, attend your lectures, because the theories and the concepts that I've learned in year 1 are going to be used throughout my entire degree. So if you don't listen in first year, you're going to struggle in year 2 and 3. So just make sure you are paying attention as much as you are having fun.
To make the most out of every single opportunity that you can. There are so many opportunities, whether it's from societies to first gen scholarships. If you're eligible for that, check that out, because the opportunities for them are insane. As alongside as you getting your degree, it should also be kind of like making the most out of it. So for me, again, like I want to have the best experience, but in that experience also includes like making networks that I can have in the future, or just having experiences that I wouldn't get outside. Because you come to uni for this whole new experience, you might as well experience every single thing that can help you and benefit you in the future. Just check your emails, go to talks, they have so many talks, check out Careers Hub. So that's my first one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll just add, like, university doesn't end when the lecture ends.
Yeah, 100%.
So there's so much going on, and a lot of the time, like, it's easy to not be aware of what's going on.
My first ever TED talk, which is a dream.
You've had one,
That's been a goal of mine for ages. So yeah, that's ticked off my bucket list.
What else I'd advise?
For me, it'd be talk to everyone and anyone, because you never know what knowledge or insight they could bring you. The way I've made the most out of it and had the most memories there is from just people I've met along the way that have just added a lot of value to what I'm learning and my experience at uni so far. It's just being very open and just being, again, I keep on saying the word, but just being open-minded to anyone and everyone.
I could never have predicted that coming to uni I'd be friends with people from like nearly every country in Europe, and that's crazy to me.
Love,
coming from
so
school.
much love for the internationals.
Yeah.
I think my last one would be to budget, because one thing I failed, you can ask anyone, I failed in budgeting this year. You told me about how I can save so much money if I just go to Aldi and just get a weekly food shop. And again, like, learn the basics.
Budgeting is so important, and I think I kind of impressed myself with how good I was at it this year, like doing my weekly shops and making sure that I have like specific, like even like meal plan. You're on campus in the first year not having to pay for travel as much because you're right next door to your lectures. Money can be a bit easier in first year as well, so that's not too much to worry about.
This is the 4th piece of advice, should we?
Yeah.
Kind of like, just throw it in there. Now's your time to just try out the things you've always wanted to try out but you've been scared to try out. That's like the best advice I can give to anyone.
Uni's about developing like who you are as a
100%,
person as much as it is about passing and getting a grade. So yeah.
Again, your uni can be so much more than just a degree. Thank you for watching our question and answer. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments. I hopefully enjoyed this video and hopefully it was really helpful. We have loved first year so far and we cannot wait for second year. Bring it on. But anyway, hopefully these questions helped. Okay. Wait, can we do that again? I waved. Hi.
Okay.
Oh wait. You know what, these are actually
Super real.
yeah. Hi. Wow. Okay. Can I?
I think that's it. Yeah.